Okay. Hi, a very good evening. So as I mentioned in the live chat, we'll start with MCQs. Today we'll focus on some multiple choice questions based on topics which we covered this entire week in the form of live sessions. Okay, not study club, but in the form of live sessions. So I hope you guys are all ready. So those who are attending live, I reckon you're not cricket fans. So maybe that's the reason why you're attending this live session. And by the way, I love cricket, but duty first. Okay, I hope you guys are all ready. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to our live session. So we'll right away start with our presentation. I have MCQs for you in the form of presentation. And before we proceed, again, as I mentioned in live chat, let's put a score. If you're right, give yourself +4. If you're wrong, -1. And before we conclude this session or at the end of the session, you can reveal your individual scores. Okay? Right. So let's start. So MCQs discussion, learning is fun, of course, if we're doing it right. So let's start with our first question now. Which element is a constituent of vitamin B12? Which trace element, to be more specific? In fact, I've asked you the same in the form of a homework question and some of you answered it. So let's see how many of you are going to get it right. So which element is a constituent of vitamin B12? Which trace element? Iron, chromium, cobalt, iodine. So among the following, choose a more appropriate one. Don't worry, even if you go wrong, as I say, each and every MCQ, each and every learning format is an experience and is an opportunity for you to master and enhance your knowledge, right? So which of the following trace elements is a constituent of vitamin B12? Iron, chromium, cobalt, iodine. Of course, I know you'll answer it right. The word cobalt should ring you some bells, especially in Mission Impossible 4, Part 4. You know, the name of the main villain is Cobalt. I'm not sure how many of you remember it. So, Cobalt. Cobalt it is. So here is a table from U. Satyanarayana, biochemistry textbook, one of our professors. So you can see various elements, trace elements, their major functions, deficiency, disease, or symptoms, recommended dietary elements, RDA, including major sources. It's a comprehensive table which includes various elements and their role in human physiology. I consider this very, very important and necessary to master the given content over here. Okay, so as you can see, the point of interest, cobalt, it's a constituent of vitamin B12 required for formation of erythrocytes. Deficiency leads to pernicious anemia, a vitamin B12 deficiency. RDA is 5 to 8 micrograms per deciliter. I'm sorry, it's per day. Yeah, it's per day. We got used to these values. I slipped into DL, right? It's per day. So RDA is 5 to 8 micrograms per day, and the major source is foods of animal origin. What about vegetarians? How do you think they're going to survive? Those who are on vegan diet or vegetarian diet. What about vitamin B12 in them? So this is something which you can explore. So in fact, there is a documentary on the same in Netflix. Okay, let's move on to the second question. Well done. Those who have answered C, cobalt. Even if you're wrong, don't worry. And those who haven't answered, even for you, it has to be -1, okay? Okay, right. You might ask me why, but again, you know what I will answer. Active participation is the key. Second question, identify the false statement. Crohn's disease, option E. Crohn's disease is also known as regional enteritis. Option B, ulcerative colitis is a type of inflammatory bowel disease, IBD. Option C, in Crohn's disease, the lesions on buccal mucosa present cobblestone appearance. Something must be ringing inside your mind. I've shown you some clinical images. Cobblestone appearance, even have given you the description of what a cobblestone is, the size between a pebble and boulder. Okay, used in construction work. Yeah, option D, regional enteritis. increases the risk of colorectal cancer. So which one do you think is a false statement among the given options? Shweta says in vegetarians, okay, in general, it's produced bacteria in intestines. But cobalt has animal sources. So how do you think vegetarians are going to secure or obtain cobalt in their diet? Okay, so which one do you think is a false statement among the given options? Let's go one by one. If you remember, Crohn's disease, also called as regional enteritis, which we discussed previously. In fact, inflammatory bowel disease, I've given you a schematic representation also. This IBD encompasses Crohn's disease as well as ulcerative colitis. Option B is also right. Option C, you have seen in Crohn's disease, you have seen the lesions on buccal mucosa. We have seen a clinical image, above central and lateral incisors on the labial gingiva. You have this cobblestone appearance, even on mucosa. Option D, regional enteritis increases the risk of colorectal cancer, small intestine cancer, and so on, as we have seen. So, among the given options, which one do you think is a false statement? Okay, well tried. All of the given statements are true. If you remember, we even discussed about increased risk of colorectal cancer, small intestine cancer. So there is no false statement among these given options. All the statements given are true. Okay? So those who have answered it none, you can take +4. Okay, well done. Right. Don't worry even if you got it wrong. Now let's move on to the next question. Familial hypercholesterolemia. So mutations are evident in which of the following genes? In fact, we have seen that there are some specific mutations in certain genes leading to elevated levels of cholesterol, especially bad cholesterol, LDL, in plasma. So where do you find these mutations? In which genes? We have seen corresponding proteins, if you remember, in schematic representation. So which genes are mutated in case of familial hypercholesterolemia? Yes. Before I get back to you, Rhythm says the previous question was wrong. Yes, that's the amount of confidence you should have. And even when you face such questions in Viva, you should be able to tell to your professor right on his or her face that this is a wrong question, not just online, but even do it offline. You'll have a very good future. Okay, forget about the present. It's going to be horrible, but your future is going to be amazing if you have this amount of confidence. I'm only talking about future, not the present, because present is going to be horrible if you say such things right on their face, just like how you did now. Okay, I'm just kidding. So, in familial hypercholesterolemia, mutations are evident in which of the following genes? Okay, A, B, C, and D. You can see some Greek and Latin letters. Those who are attending this session for the first time. So LDLR gene, it's a LDLR receptor, which actually allows feeding of this cholesterol, carries it. And if there is mutation in this receptor, there will be elevated levels of cholesterol, obviously, in plasma. The same applies to apolipoprotein B. PCSK9 gene, if you remember, I said PCSK9 protein, it actually carries this LDLR receptor into the hepatocytes, leads to its destruction or activation. So mutations in A, B, or hyperactivation, even mutation of option C can lead to elevated levels of cholesterol in blood, in plasma, okay? So in familial hypercholesterolemia, mutations are evident in which of the following? So A, B, and C, as Shweta, Pallavi, and some of you, yes, rightly mentioned, is the right answer. So if you had chosen any one of the options, just award yourself 1/4 mark, except for D. If you had chosen A, B, and C, then give yourself +4, okay? Well done, Pallavi, Shweta, Had. I guess you're Hadi. So, anyways, well done. So, A, B, and C. Now, let's move on to the next question. Clinical manifestations in patients with FH, I took the liberty to use a shortcut here because in the previous question I mentioned FH as familial hypercholesterolemia. Hope it's fine with you. So, which of the following are clinical manifestations in patients with familial hypercholesterolemia? Corneal arcus, xanthelasmas, xanthomas, all of the above. In fact, we have seen deposition of cholesterol lipids around the iris in arc-shaped fashion, corneal arcus, xanthelasmas, deposition of cholesterol in skin, eyes, eyelids, xanthomas, again, cholesterol deposition, swellings, especially we have seen a clinical picture of Achilles tendon, Achilles heel, you know the Trojan history, Achilles heel, Achilles tendon. We have seen xanthomas of Achilles tendon, if you remember. So clinical manifestations in patients with familial hypercholesterolemia include A, B, C, and of course D. Very good. All of the above is right answer. In fact, xanthomas, if you remember, are considered to be pathognomonic in familial hypercholesterolemia. Right? Well done. Keep it up. Now let's move on to the next question. By the way, we have 10 questions. So let's do it as fast as possible so that we'll not exceed our 20-minute time slot. In familial hypercholesterolemia, I know I'm bombarding you with familial hypercholesterolemia, but come on, take it. LDL cholesterol levels in children and adults are above. So we'll go by the information given in CDC website, or they can follow the information given in Satyanarayan or any biochemistry textbook. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? 60 and 100 milligrams per deciliter respectively, 160 and 190 milligrams per deciliter respectively, 40 and 180 respectively, 140 and 180 respectively. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? And normal levels, we have seen reference ranges previously, LDL, HDL. We have discussed a case in regard to this. So in case of familial hypercholesterolemia, cholesterol levels in children and adults are above. You might ask me, why the hell should we know about this? Let's assume your uncle or aunt came to you with their cholesterol report, or you have stumbled upon a lipid profile of one of your friends or relatives, let's suppose. You find abnormal levels of LDL. Don't you think you'll start probing in that direction and help them in the process to find, to warn them or to refer them at least to their physician? Of course, it's very much possible, isn't it? So if you have this orientation, you'll not even think like, why the hell should I know this? Okay, it's not just about answering a question entrance. It has real life implications. Don't you think so? Okay, so in familial hypercholesterolemia, as most of you rightly mentioned, in case of children, if it is more than 160 milligrams per deciliter, in case of adults, if it is more than 190 milligrams per deciliter, you can suspect that there is something which is fishy. Option B, as most of you rightly mentioned, is the right answer. Hi, Najima. Now let's move on to the next question. Which are the following type of hemoglobin is a major constituent of adult hemoglobin? HbF, HbA2, HbS, HbA. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? In fact, we have seen that after normal hemoglobin electrophoresis, after hemoglobin electrophoresis, you can find that in case of adults and children, the type of hemoglobin which constitutes the major portion actually varies. In case of children, it is obviously HbF, right? So fetal hemoglobin. But what about adults? So which of the following is a major constituent of adult hemoglobin? Is it HbF, HbA2, HbS, HbA? I see some of you choosing option B. Okay, let's see. Ignore the answer given over there. Keep answering. Look into the table. So these are the results of hemoglobin electrophoresis. In case of adults, HbA it's around 95 to 98%. In case of you can see in case of infants and children, HbF 50 to 80%. HbA2 is present in only 2 to 3% of the cases. HbF is also present but in minimal quantity. HbE, HbS, HbC are absent. right? And also in infants and children, you can clearly see in newborns, HbF is around 50 to 80%. In around 6 months' time, it's around 8%. And over 6 months, even drops to 1 to 2%. So as majority of you rightly mentioned, HbA is a major constituent of adult hemoglobin. Okay, well done. Keep it up. Now let's move on to the next question. In sickle cell anemia, there is, so this is something which we often get confused. So how can we make it easier to remember? One is to practicing on MCQs, and you can create some story. Replacement of glutamate by valine, replacement of valine by glutamate, replacement of glutamate by lysine, replacement of lysine by glutamate. When you come across these questions, you feel like you want to kick someone in nuts. That's an obvious accepted feeling, but don't actually go and kick someone, right? So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? In sickle cell anemia, yeah, what do you think is happening? In specific, at 6th position of a beta chain, if you remember the things which we discussed yesterday. Replacement of which amino acid? Yeah, I think you're going with option A. Okay, that's good. I'm sure you might be going through this particular fact right from your high school, or maybe from your lower school for that matter, in science. So let's see what's actually happening. As most of you rightly choose, option A is right answer. You can clearly see the top one is normal hemoglobin. The bottom you have sickle cell hemoglobin, where the glutamic acid is replaced by valine, right? Yeah. So option A is the right answer, as most of you rightly mentioned. Good. If at all you come across this question, you cannot afford to make a mistake, because these are the questions which majority of us will mark them right. And if you go wrong in such so-called, say, easy questions, it's like you're landing yourself in soup. Okay, anyways, well done. 8th question, hydroxyurea and sickle cell anemia, again a homework question in the form of an MCQ. Which option is more appropriate? Provides therapeutic benefit in patients with sickle cell anemia, increases HbF, decreases sickled forms, all of the above. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? In fact, in the infographic given in CDC website, we have seen that patients are often prescribed, patients with sickle cell anemia are often prescribed with the hydroxyurea, right? Because it has numerous advantages. And also we discussed that it alters the morphology or shape of the erythrocytes as such, that is, decreases sickled forms. And also, one of you, I think Ritu, I reckon, she mentioned that this enhances or increases fetal hemoglobin. In fact, this fetal hemoglobin, it inhibits the polymerization of HbS. So that's another advantage we have. Provides therapeutic benefit in numerous ways, including through NO, nitrous oxide. So it's a very interesting thing of what hydroxyurea does. There are a wide range of activities. It elevates or enhances other parameters also, decreases the levels of other cells. So there are so many, a wide range of functions associated with hydroxyurea. It's going to be very interesting. Try, refer, and then feel free to get back through mail for any references or for any further guidance, okay? So by now, I reckon answer must be quite obvious. Hydroxyurea in sickle cell anemia does all of the above. Provides therapeutic benefit, increases HbF, decreases sickled forms. Okay. Definitive treatment, bone marrow transplant, is seen that it is helpful in curing the sickle cell anemia, at least in some patients. Let's move to the next question. I know you must be bored with these subject questions. So last 2 questions, general knowledge questions. Please don't Google, okay? How many countries are there in this whole wide, lovely world? 100, 195? Please don't say who cares, but I've incorporated that in options. I want to say how many of you would say who cares? I'll tell you why you shouldn't be choosing option D. I'll tell you why. Okay, how many countries are there in the world? I mean, if you're not, don't Google, first point. Second point, if you don't know this, that's absolutely fine. Not many. No, it doesn't mean that it's justified. We should know, since we are part and parcel of this world, we are part and parcel of a specific country. No, come on, you're saying who cares? Let's assume your nephew or your niece or a young child comes to you and asks you this question. Since you are all grown-ups, a boy or girl comes to you and says, uncle or auntie, how many countries are there in the world? So what would you say? Would you scold them for calling you uncle or auntie? Or would you answer the question? So what would you say? So option D is never a smart answer. It's good to see that some of you are still choosing option D. So uncles and aunties, it's time to grow up. Come on. Okay, very good. Actually, there are 193 recognized sovereign countries. It's not none of the above, by the way. 195 is right answer. 193 sovereign recognized countries and 2 are observer states. These 193 are part of United Nations. 2 are observer states. Palestine and Vatican City. You might have heard of them without any doubt, right? In fact, as far as I remember, Vatican City is considered to be the smallest country, given the area, land area, or something of that sort. Okay, so how many countries are there in the world? You're right, 195. And those who have chosen option D, who cares? Let's see. Let's look into that matter a bit later. So, final question. I'm sure you'll find this interesting, but which one, only one, would you choose? So, which one would you choose? Careful before you answer, okay? No A and B, B and C, C and D, or all of the above, or none. Which one would you choose? Option A, all expenses paid world tour for the next 25 years. Let's assume you're already 30 or 35 or 40. Let's assume. So, till your retirement, all expenses paid world tour for the next 25 years. Option B, 100 crores in your bank account right now, as soon as possible, right now. Option C, All India ranked 1 in any upcoming entrance, right? Option D, enlightenment. So, what the hell would you wish to choose? Which one would you choose? I'll give you some time, take some time. By the way, for 9th and 10th questions, you need not keep your score, okay? Only 8 questions, 8 fours, 32, right? I mean, Charles, just because you're typing option B multiple number of times, you're not going to get multiple times of 100 crores. Okay, you can just press, just type one character. That's sufficient. Okay. Okay, all attempting. That's good. So, in fact, there is no right answer for this. You can choose any option, but I just wanted to know what you would choose. Let me start with each option. And also, I'll tell you my personal favorite. All expenses paid, a world tour for the next 25 years. That seems to be the best thing one can have. I mean, exploring different countries, all 195 countries if you wish to, 193 plus 2. For the next 25 years, all expenses paid. You need not worry about any financial matter. You just need to explore, enjoy, and enhance your knowledge, experiences for that matter. Okay, that seems to be fine, but none of you have chosen it, which is very unfortunate. Okay, so let me choose option A. Let me also type. So I would choose A. Okay, be 100 crores in your bank account as soon as possible. Money, okay, it seems to be very tempting, but 100 crores, do you think it solves all your problems? Seriously, do you think it solves all your problems? Or do you think it keeps adding to your problems? That's something which I think you should explore. Okay. In fact, I was going through one video. I've come across this in Insta, where a person, I don't know his name, but he was saying that with money you can buy a home. but you cannot buy peacefulness. You can buy a bed, but you cannot buy sleep. You can buy food, but you cannot buy hunger. I mean, that felt very valid. It was very touching, thought-provoking. But anyways, let me not go deep into that. With money, you can buy things, but this is something which has to be handled irrespective of one's financial status. Anyways, option C, obviously you're into preparation one in India. All India rank one is a big deal. If you get All India rank one, you're a hero or heroine of that locality, or for that matter of the nation as such. Or even they say you're a hero, heroine, or king or queen of universe. And if you don't get one, All India rank one, and if you get a big rank, it will be, the scenario will be just the opposite, isn't it? Okay, even that seems to be a good option, good choice. Enlightenment. So, oh, this is something which we can talk about throughout. So, anyways, I would choose option A. Yeah, with money you can do whatever you want, and you can stay wherever you want, including jails. Okay. With 100 crore, Harita, you think you can go to all places? Take my word. If in our setup, if you get 100 crore, it's either invested elsewhere or it is saved in bank so that our future generations are going to enjoy. Let's assume we have 1 lakh. What do you think we're going to do? Spend it on traveling? Then what makes you think that if you have 100 crores, you would spend on traveling or exploring? No, attitudes never change regardless of the money you have. Don't you think so? Okay, fine. So this is just for fun. So out of 8 questions, drop your scores now. I mean, it's up to you which option you choose. So let's omit those 2 questions from scoring. So 8 questions, 8 fours, 32. So drop your scores. And I hope you enjoyed this session. And it's good to see active participation, irrespective of the fact that there is a live cricket going on. So I'm sure you're not great fans of cricket. What about me? I am also a fan of cricket, but as I said prior, duty first. Okay. 32 questions, 32 marks. What is this 71 by 4? And the maximum score can only be 32, right? Harita seems to be simultaneously taking other quiz also, I reckon. Okay, guys, do drop your scores. I would love to just review. What is this 71 by 4, which is very interesting number? Right. So again, appreciate your active participation. And as I keep on reminding, active participation is the key. Whether you're right or wrong is secondary. If you are enthusiastic to know, if you are enthusiastic in your, in your duties, then obviously good things are going to happen without any doubt. So active participation is always the key, and it's a way of preparation actually. So try to maintain this momentum, try to maintain this enthusiasm, and for any further queries or assistance, feel free to get back through mail at proudtobedentist@gmail.com 24/7. Wish you a happy weekend. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy this weekend. In fact, every day has to be like a weekend. But having said that, we have other duties also. So by the way, enjoy this weekend and feel free to get back through mail for any further queries or assistance or clarification regarding the subject or personal, or it can be anything. Okay? And I sincerely hope that when you sleep tonight, you get that 10th question with all the options in mind. And I sincerely hope that you would choose the right option. Your right option. Okay? Okay, that's fine. Fantastic. Well done, everyone. So Shweta says she got 22, Veni 27. So what's the top score? We have a top score of 27 by Veni. Shweta 22, very good score. Hadi 23, Bhagyashri 12 1/4, Haritha 28 1/4, Pallavi 22. And what's the least score we have? Okay, let's see. Okay, fine. So as I said, regardless of your scores, just be enthusiastic. Everything is going to be perfectly fine. Take care. Good night. Love you all.